Thank you guys for having me join you today. My name is Shelley Morgan, and I'm the K-12 specialist with ACPE. And I'm excited to share our Kids to Careers resources. You can see our new logos here at the bottom. We have resources, planning resources for grades 5 through 12, as well as exploration resources for pre-K through 4th grade. And just want to make sure, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see
Okay,
your screen.
perfect. Awesome. So our focus is really not just collegiate programs, but also helping students identify technical career paths, helping students think about what their interest is and what's going to be the right pathway for them. And so with our Kids to Careers resources for educators, we have 4 classroom tools. We have the Early Career Explorers downloadable resource activities for pre-K through 4th grade, as well as classroom curriculum for grades 5 through 8. The post-secondary and career prep panel discussions are grades 5 through 12, and we now have pathway presentations for juniors and seniors to help them with time-sensitive steps. Our educators are also going to find additional tools to help them, post-secondary planning tools, student success steps, as well as family guiding steps, and our digital senior calendar are all going to be at our educators' reach as well. And when you come to our website, you'll now find that there are 4 different entry points through the Kids to Careers section. Whether you're an educator, a student, a family member, or a partner, volunteer, or campus, we have direct entry points for each of you. When you come to the educator homepage, that's where the main resources are for classrooms. You'll have the Early Career Explorers on the left, and then Kids to Careers planning resources on the right. For our younger students, we have the I Can Be series geared for pre-K through kinder. We have Careers Build a Community geared for grades 1 through 3. These are both going to have 56 different careers depicted by male and female characters. They are also both available in Chupic. If anyone wants to translate any of our materials into other languages, we are always very grateful for that. I Can Be helps with penmanship and fine motor skills and spelling. Careers Build a Community has a career journal and flashcards and community helper cutouts. All of these resources have teacher instructions or teacher guides, and everything we provide is no charge. Career Heroes is going to be for grades 3 through 4, and this one's going to have a 6-activity workbook, getting into some of those Holland codes, thinking about what their interests are and different occupations that might be a good fit for them. That one's going to have 32 different careers highlighted, as well as a trading card activity for students. Well, you'll have a button down on the bottom to download right away. It'll pull up the link. You'll be able to access any of those resources and print them out. We ask for annual downloads so we can not only track who's using the resources, but also because we do like to make updates. For Kids to Careers planning resources for grades 5 through 12 on the right side of the screen, we have a number of activities here as well. So when the educators click that, it's going to open up to this educator page. They'll have access to the classroom curriculum, the post-secondary and career prep panel discussions, as well as post-secondary pathway presentations. And then, of course, the student success steps, family guiding steps, and the post-secondary planning tools I mentioned. One thing I want to share is that although we give recommended grade levels, these are all really reflective of what's best for the students you're working with. So we have some special needs students that are using the pre-K through 4th grade materials in middle and high school as well. We also, even though classroom curriculum is written through 8th grade, we might have some older students using that in some of our communities too. I want to start with pathway planning presentations. These are geared towards our juniors and seniors. And it's a way for us to highlight those time-sensitive steps, where to find and how to use our planning tools and templates, our senior planning calendar, the student success steps, as well as our FAFSA assistance and Success Center resources. The post-secondary and career prep panels, these are now broken into 4 tiers. They always are a part of the 6-lesson curriculum, but they also now stand alone for schools who might not be choosing to do the curriculum. So we have tier 1 is geared towards grades 5 through 6, tier 2 towards 7 through 8, tier 3 for our freshmen and sophomores, and tier 4 is geared towards our juniors and seniors. With all of these, we're going to try to find individuals from the region or community that we're presenting in. We'll have 3 to 5 panelists who share their pathway, who they are, what they do, but most importantly, how they got there. What steps helped them in high school? What do they wish they had done differently in high school? As well as some of the incredible experiences that they've had in their post-secondary training. So all of these will have that while weaving in different topics based on the different age groups that we have. The curriculum itself is a 6-lesson curriculum. And if you look at the lesson timelines that we have on our website, you'll find that each lesson is written as 60-minute lessons with 10, 15, 20-minute activities throughout. Some teachers say they go into a little bit more detail and maybe a lesson or two took 90 minutes. So we say it's 60 to 90, but it is written as 60. In lesson 1, the students are going to think about all of the different ways to learn after high school, collegiate as well as technical pathways. They'll learn about majors and minors, apprenticeships, all of those things. Lesson 2, they're exploring what they might like to do based on their own personal interests, different surveys that we have. We love to use ACCIS 360 during this lesson whenever possible. Lesson 3 is where students start to think about what they can do right now. They figure out their learning style, they're understanding the admissions process, they're thinking about enrichment activities, extracurriculars, and all of the things that can help them be successful. Lesson 4 is where we start talking about financial aid. So students learn about grants, loans, scholarships, work study, the FAFSA. They're going to learn about the Alaska Performance Scholarship and the Alaska Education Grant and all of those things through this curriculum. Lesson 5 is where we host our post-secondary and career prep panel. And then lesson 6, the students get to give their own career interest presentations. They've been thinking about what they want to do, and now they get the chance to present this to their peers. We also have, for some communities, we do have in-person campus events. We also have digital events on our website, and then virtual tours of 5 campuses plus AvTech. Our curriculum program does come with access to our educator Google Drive. We have presentation templates that can be edited and modified to fit your needs with your school. We've got the fillable Google Doc workbook as well as PDF ones, but we always like to ship them out so you have hard copies to work with students. And then we have some different activities as well on our Google Drive. For our campus and virtual tour resources, we do have campus event discussion tips, which are actually a great way to just recap what the students are learning in the lessons. And then I'll show you in a moment some of our campus event videos. And of course, you'll find our virtual campus events there too. We have some Q&A documents, one that's just questions students have asked over time. I like to add to that and then give them some answers. And then we do have some campus event Q&A from 2022 that didn't get answered in real time. So we wanted to make sure we had those answers for students watching. And then this is a snapshot of our webpage. There's actually 8 of these. You see 2, but we have 8. Over 2021 and 22, we had some virtual events that we hosted with multiple campuses. And you've got the full clip, but most likely most people will use some of these smaller ones where we have, 15-minute sessions, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and the intros go a little longer. So you can either pick a campus that you really want to show or an event and show it over time, or you can select certain topics that are applicable for your students. For supplemental activities, these are optional. They extend each lesson by about 30 minutes. In case of lesson 1 and 4, they help with those lesson 6 presentations. And some of the topics include a personal identity wheel, college and career research, applying your learning style, exploring related careers, career interviews. We incorporate math and geography. We have college knowledge quizzes and games. The identity wheel really came out of Mandy Savitt's Romer's presentation, trying to understand what happens when a student says they want to pursue post-secondary and then they don't, and really coming down to them not feeling like who they are fits. And so this is an activity helping students think about who they are with some questions for reflection, and then our educators and partners can help them really address that gap and recognize the resources available to feel comfortable in different post-secondary options. As well as this great think outside the box, think about your passion, and then identify potentially related careers. Our curriculum program also comes with family resources. We do have a family survey card with a $2,000 scholarship prize where we host a contest thanks to our partners with Alaska 529. We also provide family information sheets that we ship out with the curriculum, and of course, information on saving through Alaska 529's Education Savings Plan. Our families also have additional resources outside of the curriculum, including the family guiding steps, and then the planning resources and FAFSA assistance that we also have on our student page. So speaking of our students, I'm going to actually come over and pull up our website and show you some things live. From our website here in planning, you can either hover and go down to Kids2Careers PK-12 resources, or if you click it, it brings you to this page and you can click the pre-K-12 resources here. This is that same entry point for all 4 parties. And if we click onto our students, you'll see that our students have success steps, the planning calendar, Success Center resources, and FAFSA completion, which I know you've already heard about or will be from other presenters. Some great enrichment and training options in here as well that we have, where you can go in and look at all kinds of different things, from financial aid to maritime to healthcare, and go very deep into lots of areas. But I want to go back here to our student success steps, because over the last 2 years, my son is in his 2nd year in college. I realized there was so much that we needed to learn. And a lot of the calendars we looked at really were a little bit too late for certain things. And so I put together a whole bunch of resources. We have our elementary and middle school student success steps, which is a 1-page document. We have for freshmen and sophomores, it's broken out by the month for the activities they need to do. They get the summer off, but our juniors don't. The juniors, as you can see, there's a lot of things that for them to be doing to prepare themselves to be on track over the summer. They've got quite a bit. We're recommending them to think about this fall and going into winter. All of our success steps are going to have a QR code. So if you print them out and you hand them to people, they can always still read all of the different links that we've embedded in using that QR code in their phone. Educators could also do this through the website in front of the class while students have it in front of them. For our seniors, it becomes a full-blown checklist. So this can be completed, you can check the boxes online. You can actually add in target dates here as well. And there's a lot for the seniors, it's broken down by every 2 or every 3 months. So it feels like a lot, but they have a little bit more of a window to accomplish these things. And I think the most important thing to really share is that if you don't do all of these things and you don't do them in this order, and it's May and you haven't even looked at it, that's okay. There are still absolutely options. That what this is the key to opening as many doors as possible, as many financial aid options and scholarship options, as many institution options as a student might want. This opens that up. But I like to start with our college prep overview, because this is a little more simple and it's actually only 5 things. Students need to prepare, they need to apply, they need to find funding, make a choice, and finalize. So that sounds a lot easier for a lot of students. These senior steps are kind of how you really get into some of those things. So you'll find that there's a few different things. And although this is listed as a college prep overview, those 5 steps are what you need to do for technical careers as well as for college focus. There might be a few things, you might not use a net cost estimator or calculator for a technical program or an apprenticeship, but you're still going to need to call the admissions and understand the costs. We also have some, can you tell I looked at these earlier? We also have a now what document. So you've decided to go to college, now what? What are some of the important topics, the important things to think about that, or maybe sometimes confusing topics, boiled down very quickly. Preparing early, fit and match. What are those decision types when it comes to early decision, early action restrictive? It took me multiple articles to try and wrap my head around that for those students who are seeking those schools. This boils it down in a very brief paragraph. How do you narrow down where to apply? How do you narrow down what to choose if you get multiple acceptance letters? What do you need to think about when asking for letters of recommendation? What types of things do you need to send to your recommenders? Some tips on writing essays, information on testing options, what students need to think about with that, as well as FAFSA, financial aid, funding your education, and then lastly, paying fees, registering for classes, and moving in, helping make sure students are staying informed, they're registering for their classes, and also that they understand that once they turn 18, their families can know nothing about their education, their finances, or their healthcare without their express permission. So wanting to make sure both our students as well as our families are informed about that and can make the choice that's right for them. For our technical students, you've decided to pursue career training. Now what? Similar, but a little different twist. What do you need to be thinking about to prepare in high school? What does job readiness look like? FAFSA, financial aid, and funding your career training. What are some of the minimum qualifications that you might encounter? A little bit of notes on apprenticeships, on certifications, licensures, testing options, as well as paying fees, preparing for training, and leaving home. So a lot of times students in high school aren't necessarily checking their email every day, but now is the time, once they hit that senior year, that they really need to be doing that so that they're staying on top of things. So from this page, this is where you're accessing each of these. We do also have the apprenticeship application windows and deadlines linked directly to our partners with Alaska Works, so students can look at that. And we also have, I'm going to jump back to the main student page and just showcase our senior planning calendar. This is a digital calendar, and it's not just for seniors, it's great for juniors. Ultimately, there might be even more things and become a high school calendar. But we've got some of the career fairs. We've got the opening and closing dates for different apprenticeships. We have some of the registration dates. We've got SAT registration date. We've got ACT registration date. We have some of Alaska Works's events that they're hosting. So we have a lot of different things in the senior calendar. We even have the AP exam windows in here. So we encourage students to download this to their drive. They'll get my real-time updates. They can remove what doesn't apply to them, and they can start adding in their own deadlines. Everything from current tests to scholarships. And then some of the last resources that I'm excited to share with you are our planning templates. So the first one here is interests, values, and activities. Students can start this really in middle school, start tracking your extracurricular activities, and you'll eventually see what your passions are. For some students, their passions might lie in academics, or they might have other academic achievements they want to highlight here. What are their values? What's important to them? And then what are the qualities in an institution that is important and how important? Is it a must-have? My son thought a D1 school was a must-have. Then it became, I would really like it. And now he's living without it. So it's really gives them the chance to change that. This is going to help with personal statements, essays, requesting letters of reference. You're going to find a lot of the things that you want to share with your recommenders here, different essays, all of those things can be very helpful. We also have comparing colleges and tracking deadlines. The gray is our sample language, and this came out of an insane, colorful spreadsheet that only I could manage while helping my son. So students are going to put their personal information, their test scores if they chose to take them, their weighted or unweighted GPA, preferred majors, their family gross adjusted income is going to be for their FAFSA and for their CSS profile if they choose to do that one. All of these things, years to graduation, how many years do they think it'll take, some of the Alaska factors, and then what's important to them. And then they'll start putting in colleges. I used Hawaii Manoa as a sample because it's a WUI school, and I wanted to be able to showcase that on here. So they can now compare themselves to the institution. They can compare the institutions to each other. Major names are different all across the board, so they can look at that. When I do a pathway presentation, I talk about all of these things in much more detail than you're getting right now. What is resident versus non-resident sticker price? How does the net cost estimator come into play? Is this an important factor for you per cent of graduation? And then we have links to all of these different Alaska factors, APS, WUI, WWAMI, PSEP, and Wynn-Brindle. We've got how important to a student is student-teacher ratio, and then fit. I love it. Versus match. Do I look like the average student? We like to recommend up at the top, at least apply to one safety. I always want students applying to Alaska schools. And then thinking about what is a match versus a hard match. Do you look like the school, but it's a really hard school to get into? That might be a harder match, or maybe you almost look like that student. And then reach schools, and are they not certain? The last sections here are going to be for application, deadline, and status monitoring. So they can put their due date, they can link this to the admissions page, they can link the financial aid due date to the financial aid page. Did they submit it yet? What about test scores? Or are they not required? FAFSA. And for those who are doing schools that require CSS profile or SAR or SRAR, they can put these in. I do get into more details about what that means as well in the pathway presentation. And then when will you know? And were you accepted, waitlisted, or not accepted? And then your deposit deadlines for enrollment and housing and dining. Of course, they can link the school here. And then the last one I have here is for training programs. So it's a very different one than that. So what are your preferences? What kind of trades are you looking for? Does it offer job placement assistance? Does it offer campus housing? What are you looking for with wages? And then this is asking for your estimated funds before loans. So savings, scholarships, grants, 529 accounts. Are you an APS recipient? And then down here, you're going to put the name of your program. What type? Is it a training program, apprenticeship, a laborer's school? Is it a college with certification or licensure courses? And then how long will it take? Which trainings are offered there? Does it offer job placement, campus housing, starting wage? Getting into the costs, we're looking at tuition as well as extra. So are there cost of materials, books, tools, workbooks? Are there other fees, maybe application fees? And then does the program offer financial assistance? Can you get scholarships or grants through the Job Center? Can you get funding through federal or state loan programs? And then is it APS eligible? So students can use that to confirm and track and compare because a lot of application windows vary. And so a student might say, I want to be an electrical apprentice. Oh, I didn't get into the apprenticeship. Do I want to study in a different program? Do I want to wait and try again? Do I want to do a different program that's open now? There's so much to look at in this. They can look at what test scores might be required, where they stand on that. And then, of course, tracking those application windows. Did I complete everything? Did I submit it? And very similar to the end of the other one. So those are our templates that we have here. Of course, the students have the planning calendar, the Success Center, and FAFSA resources, those enrichment and training pieces. And that this Kids2Careers curriculum is really for any students that are doing the program from home. So the last thing I want to show, because I know I'm probably really close to out of time, is we do have resources for families too. So we've got family guiding steps for families. We have Alaska 529 savings information links, and then everything else is going to be the same as what you see on the student page. And we hope that all of you will become partners. If you are a campus and haven't participated this year or before, you can apply here to be a campus partner. And then for anyone else here, we hope that you will volunteer as a panelist with us. And we have a volunteer application through the partners section. So I think that is everything that I have to show you. And I don't even know if I have time for questions, but thank you.
Thank you so much, Shelley. There was one comment from Karen, amazing, helpful tools, can wait to spread the word. So Thank you. Big kudos to you, Shelley, for coming up with all of these beautiful and very informative resources, very much needed for our students and educators and families and partners.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I wish I had these when my son was doing it, but that's kind of where they came from. So thanks again.
Thank you, Shelley. I do have one question. When when individuals click on the spreadsheets that you showcased, can they save the spreadsheet? Yes. Okay.
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. Yes. So for all of those, the templates that are there, the three, you do want to save those to your own Google Drive, and then they are yours. I won't see what changes students put into them, and they won't change the master. It'll still be there for others. Thank you.
Very good. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Shelley, for joining us today. And please become volunteers. Reach out to Shelley directly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.